Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, come. Good boy, Eric.
Obedience, please. You have been listening to a series of commands being given by a young lady to her German Shepherd dog, Eric. This 120-pound girl is able to control her huge dog because she properly trained him. In today's world of cars and crowded conditions, an untrained pet can be a danger to itself and to others. A properly trained dog is a happier pet, able to understand you and share more fun with you. And by following your directions, he is much safer.
Eric, stay. He might have run into the street. Good boy. I'm glad you listened.
This record will help you to train your dog. Play it and follow it in the comfort of your living room or playroom. You do not need a lot of space to train your dog, and you don't need to work outside. Inside or outside, work where you and your pet are most comfortable. Follow the training course in order. Don't jump ahead, but refer back to an earlier lesson whenever necessary. The methods you will hear are the same as we used to train the dogs in Oliver, Period of Adjustment, Luther, and many more. Our aim in this course is for consistency. If properly followed, you can train your dog to follow your commands the first time, every time.
How long will it take?
Every dog is an individual, but on the average, 30 minutes every day for 4 weeks will be sufficient for completion of this course. However, if your dog seems to take a little longer, give him the extra time he needs. Or if he seems to tire quickly, don't push him. If he learns very quickly, don't bore him. Follow the time allotments on the record, but adopt them to your individual dog. Remember, your dog will enjoy life more if he can understand you. Then you can share more fun with him and enjoy him more too. So work hard and follow the directions on the record.
At what age could I start training my dog? Is it too late if my dog is 2 years old? I've got a big dog. What if I had a small dog? Aren't mixed breeds smarter? Should I train my dog? I live in the country. Do I need a lot of expensive equipment?
There are many questions about dogs and their training. I will try to pre-answer many of them now. Age. We recommend 4 months as the earliest age to start obedience training. A puppy can learn commands at even a younger age, but the strain of learning can be harmful. You can, however, leash train your dog at as early as 10 weeks of age. Put a regular leather collar and leash on your puppy. Then pick out a spot about 50 feet away from you, and while holding your puppy on leash, walk to the spot. Your puppy will probably tense up and pull back against you. Just keep walking at a moderate but steady rate of speed to the spot. While walking, encourage and talk to your puppy, but don't wait or alter pace for him. When you get to the spot you've picked out, praise him as if he's come along willingly. Then turn around and walk back to where you started in exactly the same way. Keep repeating this procedure until your puppy is followed along without resistance. An older dog can also learn. The dog in Oliver was 5 years old when he was taught his demanding role. I've even trained dogs as old as 10 years of age, but an older dog becomes more set in his ways, so you have to be more persistent. Between 4 and 8 months old is ideal. The size of your dog does not matter. A big dog can pull you, a small one can trip you. Isn't it much nicer to have either a small or large dog heel by your side? The methods of training are the same for all dogs. Even if you live in the country or in an isolated area, it is better to have a trained pet. Remember, the entire man-dog relationship has developed for thousands of years, with dog following man's directions. A dog wagging his tail, waiting for a good boy from his master is a beautiful sight. By teaching your dog, you give him the opportunity to earn that good boy that he deserves. A purebred dog is one where the parents and grandparents for many generations are of the same breed. A mixed breed is where two or more breeds have combined. Any dog, pure or mixed, can learn. There is no difference in intelligence. Individual breeds tend to have certain fixed traits. You have the advantage with a purebred of anticipating your pet's reactions based upon these expected traits. But then, each dog is an individual, so that advantage can be very minor. Your dog's health is important to consider. Don't start to train him if he has just been inoculated. If he's not feeling well, he will not learn, and any exertion or strain is bad for him. Don't work with him immediately after he has eaten. At least 1 hour should pass after he has eaten before any training session. Don't wait until just before feeding time either. You don't want his mind to be on food. Exercise your dog very lightly before each lesson. You don't want him to be tired or to be bursting with energy. If he is happy and comfortable, that's perfect for learning. You do not need a lot of expensive equipment to obedience train your pet. A 6-foot-long leather leash and a choke chain will be all you need. A lot of patience and a whole lot of love. You have your dog, your leash and collar, and you're ready to start. It is very important that you carefully follow all my directions. From this point on, you will be working with your dog, but I will be working with you and your dog. At times, what you will have to learn will be as important as what you teach your dog. Before you start to work with your dog, the following must be understood. As you teach your dog each command, there are 2 steps. The first step is when the dog learns the actual meaning of the word. Sit, stay, come. Now they have no meaning to your dog. They are only sounds. To transform sit to a meaningful word, you must repeatedly, physically, place your dog in the sit position. When you have done that many times, he will learn the meaning of the word sit. Then you will be ready for step 2, where you will train your dog to sit the first time you tell him. Each command will follow this procedure, with first your dog learning the meaning and then teaching your dog obedience. 1 point. Before you start working with your dog, you will be using his name repeatedly. A short one or 2-syllable name that is crisp and gets his attention is the best to use. As an example, Schoenheide von Abit or Fufu Sweetie Pie Love might sound proud or nice, but Mike or Dee Dee will get your pet's attention more quickly. Now you are ready to start. Take your choker chain. To put it on your dog, first hold 1 ring in your right hand and let the chain hang down. Then take the bottom ring in your left hand and hold it perpendicular to the ground. Then lower the chain through the ring in your left hand. The ring in your left hand holds the loop while your leash will be attached to the ring in your right hand. Then place the choker chain over your dog's head. When it is on your dog, there should be around 2 inches of play in the choker chain. The first command you will teach your dog is to sit. Holding your dog on leash, stand facing him. Bend over him and pet him and talk to him for a few seconds.
Good boy, Eric. Good boy. That's a good boy, Eric.
Now, slip your left hand through the handle of the leash and shorten the leash by winding it around your left hand until there is between 1 and 2 feet of leash remaining. Then put your right hand on your dog's back. Place your thumb on one side of your dog's backbone and your forefinger on the other side and gently run down his back until shortly before you reach the base of his tail. There you will feel 2 bones, one on each side. If you gently press your thumb and forefinger in and down at this spot, while you pull up slightly with your left hand on the leash and choker, your dog will go into a sitting position. But before you start to extend this pressure, and all the while you are exerting this pressure, keep gently telling your dog to sit. Remember to use his name and a quiet tone of voice. The young lady will demonstrate.
Eric, sit. Sit, 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 sit. Good boy.
All the while she was exerting pressure, she kept repeating, "Sit." Once he sat, then she praised her dog. The amount of pressure you exert must be great enough to make your dog sit, but not so great as to hurt him and make him rebel. Then, by praising him when he sits, you give him reason at this point to want to learn. The reason is to receive praise. Praise is telling him that he is good and petting him.
Eric, sit, sit, sit. Good boy. Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, sit. Sit, sit, sit. Good boy. Eric, sit. Good boy.
Now, at home, start a series of commands. Use a quiet tone, gentle pressure and praise. Keep repeating this until you feel your dog resist your pressure less and less than when you started. This may take 1 minute or 5 minutes or more, but you will soon notice it. This is the first real start of learning. Now start your command again, but hesitate for 5 seconds between when you give the command and you apply the pressure. And this time, when you apply the pressure, make it more abrupt, but don't make it so abrupt as to hurt him. The timing is like this.
Eric, sit.
Pressure.
Sit, sit, sit. Good boy.
You have to, at this point, let your dog know you expect him to sit while you are still showing him. Soon after this, he will start to sit without pressure. As soon as he does, you are ready for step 2 of the sit command. Obedience training requires 2 steps. Training is 1 step. Obedience is step 2.
Why must my dog be obedient?
Just because your dog knows a command, that does not mean he will do it every time. We cannot let our dogs make value judgments for themselves. An example, your front door opens and your children come in, leaving the door still open. Your dog sees the open door and decides it would be nice to be outside. He runs through the door, and you call out, "Eric, stay." If he uses his own judgment, he might decide not to listen and to go outside. That could represent not only inconvenience to you, but danger for him. You must decide when your dog should listen, and that should be every time you give him a command.
But if my dog loves me, and if he knows what I want him to do, won't he automatically want to please me?
Even though your dog loves you, there will be times when it will please him more not to obey you. It is unfair to suppose that your dog lives to please you. He lives to please himself. But through proper training, a dog can be taught to want to please you. We can develop an attitude in your dog that makes it become his way of life to want to obey. This is natural for a dog, and the reward of love that you will give him makes him a happy and fulfilled animal. He will give obedience and love in return. To achieve this goal, there are 7 basic rules to follow. Please listen to these rules before each training session. If you don't follow even one of these rules, you could confuse your dog. The ultimate success you have in training your dog will very much depend on how well you follow these rules. And remember, these rules are to be used after your dog knows the meaning of the command. Rule number 1. When you give your dog his command, always say his name first. The reason for Rule 1? Your dog's name will become the word he recognizes most as belonging to him. Human beings speak a great deal of the time. To our children, husbands, wives, friends, on the telephone. We listen to radios or televisions, and thousands of words reach our ears, and our pets' ears. We understand most of the words and find meaning in them, but your dog may only understand 10 or 20 words out of thousands he hears. It is unfair to expect him to pick out a sit word or a stay word that he has learned from all other words around him, unless something grabs his attention. That something is his name. So always use his name first while training him to set up the structure for response. Rule number 2. When you give your dog his commands, use a quiet tone of voice. The reasons for rule number 2 are: we are molding your dog so that he will become obedient by nature. If you give him commands in a loud tone of voice, he has to pay attention to you in order to hear you. After a while, he will get so used to paying attention to you that it will be entirely normal for him. Also, the first form of punishment of your dog, and punishment is part of training, is to raise your voice and sound angry. By giving the command in a quiet tone of voice, it is easy to raise your voice to punish. If you started your command in a loud voice, then to raise your voice, you would hit a pitch that would make your dog feel you had lost control. This could terrify your dog, which would be very bad. So give a command in a quiet tone and raise your voice to imply anger when necessary. Rule number 3. When you give your dog his command, only give the command one time. If your dog does not respond immediately, scold him, then repeat the command. As an example, if you commanded him to sit, without his response, push him into the sit position, or if the command was to come, then bring him to the point where you were when you commanded him. The reasons for rule number 3: obedience means following your command the first time, every time. The way you get your dog to do this is by insisting on it. If you show your dog that if he doesn't listen, all that happens is he has an unpleasant experience, and he immediately has to follow the command anyway. Soon he will not resist the command, and he will obey. In time, this non-resistance to your commands will become a part of his nature. Rule number 4. When you give your dog his command, always make sure that he has completed the command. The reasons for rule number 4. It is easy to confuse your dog while striving for obedience. You must be absolutely consistent while working with your dog. If you give your dog a command, and then you get distracted, and the command is not completed, then your dog will not develop an attitude of obedience. Instead, he will feel that it is all right for him to complete commands occasionally, and that will unbalance the whole training system. Rule number 5. Always praise your dog at the completion of each command, and praise is completion of the command. Reasons for rule number 5. Up until now, we have mentioned punishment several times, but it is really praise that your dog will be working for. The dog is one of the few creatures on earth that truly wants to share love with us. The very basis of the man-dog relationship is founded on sharing protection, companionship, and love. By praising your dog for following a command, even when you have made him follow the command, you set up a pattern: command, response, reward. Which brings us to rule number 6. Do not give food as praise. Give love. Which brings us to rule number 6. Do not give food as praise. Give love. You do not want your pet's greatest reward in life to be a piece of food. Treats are fine and can be given to your dog often, but your love is what your dog will respond to most. Remember, love builds love. The more love you show your dog, the more love he will show you. And you can always have love with you. When your dog completes a command, praise him. Tell him he's a good boy. Pet and scratch him behind the ear. And remember, that completes the command. Rule number 7. Punishment. It is not necessary, and can be very harmful, to be too harsh when you punish your dog. You must make punishment an unpleasant experience. Raise your voice. Tell him he's bad. Over-exaggerate anger in the tone of your voice. If necessary as punishment, jerk your dog's leash. Not so hard as to hurt him, but to throw him off balance. Dogs do not like to have their balance upset. It is not necessary to inflict physical pain on your dog to punish him. But like so many parents have said, this is going to hurt me much more than it is going to hurt you. You must remember that this punishment is in your dog's best interest. Following these 7 rules exactly will enable you to have a well-trained dog. But let me again remind you, these rules apply after your dog knows the meaning of a command. The trick on your part is, as soon as the training part of each command is completed, immediately switch to the rules of obedience. Your dog has just learned the meaning of the word sit. Now we start using the 7 rules.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Good boy. Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, sit. Bad boy. Eric, bad. Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, sit. Good boy.
Now at this stage, your dog is likely to test you and not to sit when you tell him to. If he has responded to the command, then he knows the command, and he is only testing you. Just keep following the rules. Now the young lady will make many typical mistakes that you might make. I will correct them and point them out to you.
Sit.
Always use your dog's name first.
Eric, sit. Sit. Sit.
No, no. Once your dog knows the command, only tell him to sit once. Then, if he doesn't respond, scold him. Then repeat the command 1 time while you make him sit. Don't rush your commands. Just relax and proceed with confidence.
Eric, sit. Good boy.
That was perfect. Now follow the procedure and practice every day on this first command for 30 minutes, each day. Just hold your dog on leash, walk a few steps with him, come to a full stop, and tell him to sit. Complete the command, and then repeat the procedure for 30 minutes. After 4 days, you will be ready for the next command, to stay. Your dog knows how to sit on command, and so now you're ready for the stay command. The stay command means to stay in exactly the same place and the same position he was in when given the command. We first work on the stay in the sit position, since that is comfortable for your dog. When he has learned to lie down, then he can also be made to stay in the down position. Later in the advanced training, it is simple to teach him how to stay in a standing position, or to stand for examination in a dog show. First, have your dog sit.
Eric, sit. Good boy.
Then stand directly in front of and very close to your dog. Now hold the handle of your leash in your left hand with the rest of the leash hanging. Now hold out your right hand with your palm just in front of your dog's face and your fingers pointing down and say like this: Eric, stay, 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 stay. Eric, stay, stay, stay. And then praise him. Good boy, Eric, good boy. And break the sit command by walking with your dog in a short circle. Now, repeat the command.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Stay, 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 stay. Good boy.
Now, repeat the procedure again, but this time, take 2 steps backward while you tell your dog to stay.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Stay, 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 stay.
If your dog stands to get up and follow you, step right back to him. Push his hind quarter back down gently and tell him no. Then step back again 2 steps and repeat the stay 6 times. Then step back to your dog and praise him.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Stay, stay, stay. No, Eric, stay. Stay, stay, stay. stay, stay, good boy, good boy.
Now repeat this procedure several times, and when your dog no longer tries to follow you, step back further until you are standing the full length of the leash from your dog.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay.
Good.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Stay, stay. No, Eric, stay. Stay, 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 stay.
That's right. Now walk back to your dog. Tell him to stay, and then back off again.
Eric, stay. Eric, stay.
Good. Now go back to your dog and praise him. Now he's almost got it. Next, give your dog the commands to sit, then stay, and back away the full length of the leash. Now, while holding the leash, slowly walk around your dog, telling him to stay while you circle him. He may twist his head to watch you, but his feet must remain stationary. When you complete the circle, go to your pet and praise him.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Stay, stay,
Now start to circle.
stay, stay, stay.
He's starting to move his feet to follow you. Tell him no. Then put him back in the same place and position.
No, Eric. Now stay. Stay, stay, stay.
That's right. Now go to him and praise him.
Good boy, Eric. Good boy.
Now repeat this several times until your dog does not move his feet at all. At this point, start to tell your dog the word stay less frequently so he starts to have to remember. Next, command your dog to sit, then stay, and back away full length of the leash. Then drop the leash and repeat the stay. If your dog breaks the command when you drop the leash, pick up the leash and lightly scold your dog. Then repeat the command until you can drop the leash without your dog moving. Then give your dog the stay command. Drop the leash and walk away from your dog. Then walk back to your dog and praise him.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay.
Drop the leash and walk away. Now, walk back and praise your dog.
Good boy, Eric. Good boy.
Now your dog knows the command, and you must start to apply the rules for obedience to the stay command. Listen to Band 4 and practice with the sit and stay command for 30 minutes every day for 4 days until your dog will sit and stay for 3 minutes on one stay command. Now you are ready for the come command. The come command should be taught in a closed room or yard. To teach the come, we utilize the sit and stay commands. First, give your dog the sit command.
Eric, sit. Good boy.
Now, give your dog the stay command and back away from your dog while holding the leash until the leash is out at full length.
Eric, stay.
Now, after a pause, tell your dog from where you are standing that he is good, and then immediately give him the come command. Most dogs at this point will come to you to be petted for staying. While he is coming to you, keep repeating, come, come. When he comes, praise him for coming, and he will soon realize this is something new for him to be petted and praised for. If, at this point, he isn't coming to be petted, then pull him gently to you, while repeating, come, 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 to him. Then, when he is in front of you, praise him.
Good boy, Eric. Eric, come. Come, come, come. Good boy.
Now, repeat this procedure several times until your dog comes without your pulling him. Next, give your dog the sit and stay commands. Then back away from him and drop the leash so that the handle lies on the floor right in front of you. Then praise him for staying and give him the come command. It is important to remember to always finish the stay command by praising your dog before you tell him to come, so that you don't force your dog to break the stay command.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, come.
Many dogs, when you drop the leash, will not come. If your dog does not come, pick up the leash right away and call him to you again, putting more force in your tone and lightly jerking the leash while you pull your dog to you.
Eric, come. Eric, come. Come, come. Good boy.
Keep repeating this now until your dog is coming with the leash trailing. Then continue with the same procedure. But now, after you drop the leash, back a few more steps away. Continue to lengthen the distance, but every time your dog fails to come, take his leash to pull him to you. When your dog has come to you across the room several times, then your dog will have learned how to come on command. Now start to apply the rules for obedience to the come command. Listen to Band 4 and practice the 3 commands: sit, stay, and come, for 30 minutes each day for 1 week. During this week, vary the sequence that you give the commands.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, come. Good boy. Eric, sit. Good boy.
If you want your dog to sit in front of you, automatically when he comes to you, then, when your dog comes to you, you must push him into the sit position. But do not tell him to sit. Just push him into the position as if that is what you expect from him. Then praise him. Don't praise him until he is in this position. Soon, he will sit on the come command automatically. Now, we will teach your dog to lie down. Holding the leash in your left hand, shorten the leash by winding it around your left hand until it is 3 feet long. Then give your dog the sit and stay commands.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay.
Now, step forward with your right foot so that your right foot is about 6 inches in front of your dog's front left foot. Then put the palm of your right hand with your right arm held straight down on the leash just under the snap. Then, with steady and firm pressure, push down on the leash, repeating down, down, down as you push until your dog is in a lying down position. Then praise him.
Good boy. Eric, down. Down, 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 down. Good boy.
Many dogs resist on this command. All a dog has to do is keep his front legs rigid, and it's hard to make him lie down. Keep increasing the pressure on the leash gradually until your dog responds. If your dog is particularly large or strong, you might have to exert more pressure. If you have to, place your right foot on the leash just below the snap and push straight down with your foot. After you've done this several times, your dog will start to resist less. Keep repeating this procedure until your dog resists less and less. As soon as you tell your dog down and start to put pressure on the leash, he will start to lie down. As soon as he starts to lie down, stop putting pressure on the leash. Then, if your dog stops his lying down motion, gently jerk the leash straight down and tell him down with a more insistent tone.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, down, down. Eric, down. Down, down. Good boy.
Keep repeating this procedure until, on one down command, your dog drops in the down position.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, down. Good boy.
Now, start to apply the rules for obedience to the down command. Practice all 4 commands, the sit, stay, come, and down, in as many different combinations as you can for 30 minutes every day for 1 week.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, come. Good boy. Eric, down. Good boy. Eric, stay.
Your dog will now stay in the down position.
Good boy. Eric, come.
Now we are ready for the heel command. For this command, place your dog on your left side and give him the sit command while you both face the same way. Put your right hand through the handle of the leash and hold the leash at a point around 2.5 feet from the snap with your left hand.
Eric, sit. Eric, stay.
Now, step forward on your right foot and walk forward at a moderate rate of speed while telling your dog to heel. If your dog hesitates or walks behind you, coax him by calling his name and patting your left knee with your right hand.
Eric, heel. Heel. Come on, boy. Eric, heel. Heel.
Then, stop abruptly and tell your dog to sit. Then, praise your dog.
Eric, heel. Come on, boy. Eric, sit. Good boy.
The proper position for your dog while heeling is for his nose to be even with your left knee. He should be facing in the same direction as you, and he should remain square with you. When you stop, he must stop and sit. Start walking again, and tell your dog to heel. Keep repeating the word heel while you walk. If your dog continues to lag behind you, jerk the leash slightly to bring him level with you. If your dog walks out in front of you, abruptly turn to your right and walk in the opposite direction. Your dog will be abruptly turned around. Keep repeating these turnabouts until your dog adjusts his speed and position so as not to lead you. Once your dog starts to stay in position, then start to make the command more demanding. Start your walking pace slowly, then suddenly walk quickly, then as suddenly walk slowly, then fade away from your dog or fade into him, all the while keeping your dog in the correct position. When your dog is staying in the right position, then start using the rules for obedience. Listen to Band 4 and practice 10 minutes a day on the heel and 20 minutes a day on the other commands. By the end of 4 weeks, your dog will have learned this basic course. Use the commands and the rules, and your dog's life will be a happier, more rewarding experience for both of you.
Eric, sit. Good boy. Eric, stay. Good boy. Eric, come. Good boy. Eric, down. That's a good boy, Eric.
Obedience, please.